Joining us now, Matt Simmons, Chairman Emeritus Simmons & Company International, author of Twilight in the Desert, The Coming Saudi Oil Shock and the World Economy, and one of the foremost experts on oil on this planet. I want to run, Matt, through the contingencies to stop this leak. And I want to reference back to a conversation you and I had in the 1 or 2 days, 3 days following the rig collapse. And your point at that time was they may not be able to cap this at all. That was your fear. They tried the containment dome, plan A, didn't work. Then they did something called top hat, didn't work. Insertion tube, didn't work. Top kill was lots of fun TV for a week, didn't work. Cut and cap is what they're calling the current version, which is clearly restricting oil flow, but as we pointed out, they don't know how much is coming out of the ground, so how much it's restricting is up to the PR people, apparently. And then there's these relief wells, which our best case scenario is the end of the summer. Why are you so skeptical that these plan A, B, C, D, E, F, I can keep going, won't work?
Well, it actually, you know, I now look back on the 47 days and think that remarkably, while I was probably one of the first people to figure out the magnitude of this, I grossly underestimated the size of this disaster. But what caught my eye in the first 3 or 4 hours of watching this on television, when I saw this magnificent modern deep water rig melt down, was that this had to be the biggest blowout in the history of the world. Because literally, I mean, that rig is the size of an aircraft carrier, and it took 2 days to melt it down. And at the meantime, BP was saying it was a rig fire with diesel on board the rig, but that's just a bunch of baloney.
Oxfordshire coroner ruled today that there will be no further inquest into the death of the Iraqi weapons expert Dr. David Kelly.
Now the official debate is over. Dr. David Kelly committed suicide.
For 30 years, Congress had turned a blind eye to intelligence. Now senators competed for the national spotlight as the intelligence hearing.
Have you brought with you some of those devices which would have enabled the CIA to use this poison for?
We have indeed.
For killing people? Don't point it at me.
Out and grabbed the gun and held it like this and got the picture that day, because it was in every picture in the United States and maybe around the world, every front page.
Methods for assassinating Castro already existed. This is Fort Detrick, Maryland. This once secret facility was home to CIA experiments with drugs like LSD. It was also an armory for the agency's executive action capability, a program begun under the Eisenhower administration for disposing of unwanted foreign leaders. Some of the plots called for lethal poisons that were manufactured here. Dr. Everett Hennell, a microbiologist at Fort Detrick for 3 decades, worked in association with the CIA.
These are what we call Class 3 cabinet systems. They're gas-tight systems for working with almost complete safety with any infectious diseases, toxins, things such as the shellfish toxin. They're very toxic indeed, particularly when highly purified. And I understand that these could be placed on steel needles and fired with air guns into an animal.